Yes. Hey, how you doing, man?
How you doing? I knew you were busy in the room. Yes. Good morning. Is Willie Rawls here? Come on here, Willie. Come on here, Jude. I need you. I actually was expecting all of you up here this morning. Everybody doing well this morning? Is everybody doing well this morning? Is Dr. Smith doing well this morning? Thank you. I just wanted to make certain I hear everybody. I'm looking at everybody. I want to see you. While we're here, you look stressed. Are you all right? Me? No, the one that both of y'all made me stressed. Guys, let me do this. Y'all give me a minute. I want y'all to show you. I told the president last night in the meeting that Southern University has an opportunity to create products. And so this morning I wrote one of their products. So I'm going to try to sell everybody a tablet when we leave here. I'm very pleased that you've come. Dr. Fatima, I know you wanted to know whether it was mandatory and what they did.
It was mandatory, so I canceled my.
You canceled, and I appreciate that very, very much. And those who didn't cancel this, that's all right. What we want to do, we want to move very quickly. We are very honored this morning to have with us the president of the Southern University System. We've had an opportunity since last Wednesday to meet with the president 3 times. That may be a record, guys. And in his first full week, he's over at the Ag Center. And so that's also a blessing. And so that we've been fond of President Belton. Okay, make sure I don't say Mason. President Belton. Mr. President, if you got it down on the name, it's always Mr. President. But this time I would not, let me do this real quick, because as we talk about the Ag Center, the magnitude of who we are, what we do, who we are, the programs that we do, what our reach is, the breadth and depth of our programs, it's important to know who you are. So if you would do that quickly for the new president, and we would then stand it while you were standing and bring in the new president for his remarks. Could we do that quickly? Calvin, if you don't mind, you will start. I'm always going to the one who's most focused.
I would like to say good morning.
This is not a speech, not this is a speech.
I would certainly like to congratulate President Chancellor Dr. Ray Belton, and we look forward to him serving at least 20 years here. I serve as, I'm the chair of the Department of Agricultural Sciences and Urban Forestry, along with my colleague, Dr. Cameron Abdullahi.
He's going to introduce himself.
Okay. And my goal here in the Ag Center is I focus on organic pork. I serve on USDA National Organic Board, and we're the only entity that are doing research on organic pork. So, and I have a number of other roles that I do here, whatever Dr. Rawls, my immediate supervisor, and Dr. Brown have me.
All right.
Let me encourage you, that was not the example I was looking for.
Yes, Cameron Abdullahi, Dr. Walker covered pretty much for everyone. But welcome, Mr. President, Chancellor Dr. Belton. I'm head of the Urban Forestry Program. It's a very vibrant program, and I'm sure Dr. Brown is going to have some of the activities that we do encompassing under the Ag Center. But it's we're here to grow and help everyone.
Good morning again, Mr. President. My name is Oscar Ugar, and I do planning at the Foundation.
Good morning, Juan Clark, Director of the Southwest Center for Rural Initiatives and Youth Development Specialist.
Good morning, Dr. Belton. I'm Linda Bettine, I'm Finance Director for HUAS.
I'm James Henson. I do statistical analyses for many of the work projects here, and I work with Dr. Gabrielle, Dr. Ford on native grasses and Forbes for forage other purposes.
Good morning, I'm Professor Anastasius Production.
Good morning, Dr. Belton. I'm Lorraine Hope with Communities of Color Network. Our goal and mission is to give the awareness of weed tobacco.
I'm Kelly Hollis. I work with Family and Human Development. We do parenting classes, child care classes, and emergency preparedness.
Good morning, Erica R. Williams. I work in Planning and Evaluation Research Associate.
Good morning again. I'm Dr. Brown's assistant.
Good morning, Alice Dyson, Dr. Brown, and Dr. Rawls' assistant for research.
Good morning, Nate. Awesome stuff.
Good morning, Dr. Belton. I'm Richard Woodhouse, Communication Specialist.
Good morning, Dr. Belton. I am Annette Oliver, and I do the accounting for research. Dr.
Good morning. My name is Famara Guita. I'm a research associate for nutrition and product development.
Good morning. My name is Margaret Kapatukuda. I'm Good morning. I'm Fatima Malikia, associate in food science and nutrition. And we do nutrition activities, research and extension activities for making different like cells.
Let me do this real quick as Angela get ready to start. Chris is reminding me that we have the faculty, your faculty on the phone, and so we got to speed it up, but also we got to know, let you know that we're introducing ourselves.
Yes. Good morning. I'm Angela Jackson. I'm the administrative assistant to Dr. Jean E. Eubanks. Good morning. Tiffany Wilkerson Franklin, project coordinator for prison-based projects and school-based gardens.
President Belton, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm a PhD, GIS, remote sensing, hydrology.
Welcome, Dr. Belton. This is Pete
Jean Senior Cosina. I'm in sustainable agriculture research, working on medicinal plant and natural products.
Good morning, I'm Yang Qi, Professor in Urban Forestry and Research Scientist at Exit.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Maddie Tillotson, accountant and financial.
Good morning, Dr. Nelson. I'm Roosevelt Payne, Research Associate. Research.
Good morning, Mr. President. I'm your role as the Small Business Development Council from the Ag Sector.
Sure.
I serve in the agroforestry research.
Dolores Johnson, parent educator.
Good morning, Shaniqua Bailey, intern student with Dr. Ross and Dr. Cyrus.
Good morning, sir. Dr. Morgan Ford, Sustainable Agriculture and Native Branch Project.
Good morning, Janice Snowden, Sustainable Agriculture and Nutrition and Health.
Good morning, Dr. Belton. Brenda Steve McGee, President, Program Leader, Human Nutrition, Food, Value Campus.
Good.
Deshaun York, Nutrition Specialist.
Good morning, Jennifer Zeldin, Administrative Program Specialist for Finance.
Good morning, I am Linda Early Brown, Communities of Color Director.
Good morning, Alvin Thomas, Administrative Assistant.
Good morning, Angela Bell, Administrative Assistant too.
Good morning, Dawn Melly, on Content Agriculture Specialist. Hello, Zanetta Augustine, Burger Small Farmers.
Those guys had changed it while the few minutes ago.
Good morning, Evelyn Johnson, Accounting Tech Department.
Good morning, David Rice, Extension Assistant. Good morning, Christy Graham, Monroe, Livestock Program Manager.
Good morning, Dakota Butler, Administrative Assistant.
Hello, I'm Frankie Coleman, Communities of Color Network.
Good morning. Barry Vogel, Assistant Professor in Urban Development and Geospatial Analytics.
I'll say reciprocal sentences.
Good morning, Renita Marshall, Associate Professor in Animal Science.
Together, Smith, Associate Specialist for Community and Animal Development and Corporate Extension.
Andre Johnson, Associate Professor, Urban Forestry.
Julie, President.
Germán Teoret, Soil Scientist and Professor of Urban Forestry. Christian Bell, Urban Wetland Specialist.
Travis Easton, Research Associate, Dr. Marshall.
Next, I'm going to be your specialist.
Good morning, Mr. Research, Regional Coordinator for Public Work.
Good morning, congratulations, Dr. Gabe Gilmore, Assistant Coordinator of Finance.
Urban One Project Manager, Excellent.
Good morning, Justin Evans, Inside Association and Extension Officer. Community and Economic Development, and Lack of Ship.
Good morning. My name is Troy Kennedy, Community Color Network.
Good morning, Eugene Rollins, Farm Superintendent and Fleet Manager.
Good morning, Milagro County Research Associate. Good morning, Patricia Haynes, Professor of Agriculture Economics.
Good morning, Gerald Berrigan, Administrative Assistant, Agriculture Economics.
Good morning, Joyce Malta, Administrative Assistant of Forestry.
Good morning, Vanessa Fashion, Research and Urban Forestry.
Keisha Giddens, Research Associate, Technology and Communications.
Good morning, welcome again, Dr. Delton. Chris J. Rogers, Director of Technology Services.
Hello, I'm Sanjay Pale. I'm the Network Administrator.
Welcome to the Ag Summit, Mr. President. I'm Willie Rawls, Associate Research Director of Dr. Frank.
In addition to the persons who have introduced themselves, Dr. we also have faculty members programs throughout the state of Rhode. Participating via phone. You got video? They can see me. That's the reason they told me to stay in this little box. And ladies and gentlemen, faculty and staff, members of the ASM, let's please welcome Dr. Ray Belton, President of Chancellor Southern University.
Yes, in keeping with the very kind introductions, good morning. I'm Dr. Ray Belton, and I have the great privilege and honor of representing the Southern University system as its next president and chancellor. You know, over the last few weeks and actually months, have had the great occasion to engage with a number of our constituents. There was one particular meeting that I was engaged with some faculty, and they said, you know, I've seen you for a number of years at the board meetings, but quite frankly, I don't know anything about you. And I thought, you know, maybe today I would just kind of introduce myself. You know, when I was a faculty member, I would always suggest to my students, you probably need to know who's facilitating this discussion with you. And that, I think, is relative today. So let me just give you a snapshot of who I am and how I process things. What drives me as an individual and as an administrator. And so you may have heard that of my background, of my beginning. It was such that I attended Southern University at Shreveport and continued my studies here on the Baton Rouge campus. Where I was fortunate to graduate as a student marshal here. But it actually went back a few years earlier than that when I graduated from high school, and whereas I was extended a number of offers to attend college, offers which I denied, I refused, because I could not stand the thought of going to college. And I could not even fathom. I struggled and I navigated to just get through high school. I did well in high school because I hated the experience. And I hated the thought of going to class. And again, despite the scholarship offers, you know, to even contemplate going to college. So I went into the service. And the service, I believe, provided a lot of structure and discipline, you know, for me. And I served a number of years, was grounded with foundations of honor and teamwork and responsibility, but ultimately got out and decided to enter college, not to get a degree, but just to take advantage of my GI Bill. That's it. You know, I wanted to take a few courses, just enough courses so I could take advantage of my full GI Bill. And I did so, but something happened there where I was embraced. I was really embraced by the faculty. I was encouraged to engage with my peers. And participated with the Student Government Association. Faculty and staff really encouraged me, and throughout that process, it kind of redefined my worldview. It made me take another look at the value of higher education. And more importantly, it offered for me a perspective about the value of these enterprises and particularly the value of Southern University. And so when I came to Southern Baton Rouge, the same thing was afforded to me, that embrace. And I had the opportunity of working with faculty who offered me opportunities to do some internships and to assist them as a non-traditional student, of course, and to kind of assist them with their other student peers. And I said, at the end of the day, if Southern could do this for me, right, Southern could do it for anyone. Because I was a bad actor, I could tell you. Bad actor. And so I have a great appreciation of the promise of Southern. And that has driven my career at Southern. And I believe in Southern. And I believe in the reach of Southern. And that's why I'm here. Because I take great pride in expanding the scope and the presence of Southern. And having said that, I've been associated or affiliated with this great enterprise for over 27 years. I've served as the chancellor of the Shreveport campus for just short of 15 years. And again, truly honored to be able to contribute even more so to the evolution of Southern University and its respective campuses in this capacity and role. I come then feeling very enthusiastic about the opportunity before all of us, you know, to meet needs and make a difference, quite frankly. And I think we all have our respective roles in terms of shaping, you know, our presence as a university system. We have a lot of challenges, notwithstanding. And just in the last few days, I guess this is my 5th day on the job. I feel like I've been working for at least 2 months. But it's been long days, but it's been good days. And, you know, of course, some of the things that we've been trying to do is to respond to the projected shortfalls in revenue that particularly has had an effect on the Baton Rouge campus in the tune of about an $8 million shortfall. And as well, trying to react, if you will, to projected shortfalls both on the SUNO campus and to try to get some of your money back here at the AXT and at the Extension Center so that your needs could rightfully be fulfilled. So we're trying to work through all of that. And one of the ways we're trying to do it, and what you will be hearing and seeing, is that we're going to we have been somewhat guided by the mandate of the Southern University Board of Supervisors when they adopted this president-chancellor model. And so, and everybody's kind of get their arms around this, and so have I over the last, you know, few weeks. And in terms of putting in context, what does that mean? And so I interpret this mandate to be maybe one of 3 things. One, where we need to shape an environment within the Southern system where we are operating with greater efficiency and embracing strategies that provide an opportunity for us to save some money. But at the end of the day, being so positioned that we can fulfill the goals and aims of the Southern University system in its respective campuses. And so that's how I've interpreted that mandate. And what we're trying to do then is to operate as a single entity with one budget. So what you will begin to see is such that where we will begin to minimize the presence of the system and try to capture some savings along the way. And when we minimize the system and the dollars that has supported the system in years past, then those dollars flow back to the campuses. And it has potential of reducing food costs, and it would return control to the campus. I believe that I've long held that chancellors need to be accountable to their respective campuses. And I'm going to begin to push things back to the campuses under the authority of the chancellor. So you will see that. And but when I met with the chancellor, I also said that we will move quickly, and that we will hold each other accountable for fulfilling the mission, of this system. And over the years, I've had the great privilege of sitting beside Chancellor Williams, who has done just a yeoman's job of bringing leadership to the Ag and Extension Center. I saw him the other night, and he's one of few men that make me cry with all his stories and jokes. I think, when I laugh, I cry. So. But out of joy. But I've also had the great pleasure of knowing Adele Brown, and the degree to which we acknowledged him as the interim chancellor of the Ag and Extension Center a couple of days ago brought me great pleasure. So we have every confidence that Adele will bring appropriate leadership to the Ag Center during this interim appointment. And I also want to just submit to you that I pledge to work with Adele and to get to know, this enterprise a little bit more so than what I've had the opportunity to do in the past. And so it has been true that, we've been meeting, and I want to have a greater appreciation of your scope and your work. Met with Dr. Butler and Dr. Walker on yesterday. And I've just come to realize that you are one of the best kept secrets in the Southern University. We need to do something about that. And so I want to get to know you better. And I invite you to get to know me better so that we can really highlight the great things that you're doing in research extension. And because I started here, right? Our land grant mandate started right here, and we need to celebrate that. And I anticipate doing that. Okay. So I'm gonna stop there. But I do want. I welcome the opportunity to engage with you going forward. I will be responsive to invitations going forward. I really want to kind of meet with the departments as well. We were talking about maybe shaping new curricula based on market needs, ensuring that your research is highlighted where people can feel can feel you. You know, I think that's something that you know, when HBCUs in particular continue to be challenged about the degree to which they are valued, I think we need to position ourselves for people not only recognize the presence, but feel the presence of these institutions, where people could readily point to an institution like Southern University and recognize their contributions to the local communities, to the economic success of the state of Louisiana nationally and internationally. But people know that we're there and know how we're contributing. And that's where I want to see Southern University system and its campuses go. And it doesn't, in my view, and I guess it's certainly relative to you in keeping with the agencies across the state, but I think we need to expand our presence beyond the boundaries of this landmass here in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Shreveport. You know, so that communities as well can feel us, and where we have an obligation, you know, to drive economic development in these communities. I'll tell you one last story and then I'll sit down. Because I feel very strongly about it. My son, he attended Southern. He's a sharp, very sharp young man. He's a troubled young man. Reminds me of me. But he attended Southern, and he's a sports advocate. I mean, and while he was here, he traveled, whether it be football or basketball, whatever. He traveled to all the games. And he came back and he said, he asked me a question about HBCUs and the teams, particularly in SWAC. And his question centered around, you know, the presence of these institutions. And he said, well, why is it such that all the colleges are in depressed communities? And I thought, wow, this is coming from Regina. Wow, that's cool. So anyway, so I started talking about, Brown versus Board of Education, the vestiges of, you know, segregation and things of that nature. And I just stopped and I said, you know, the fact of the matter is that these institutions are positioned in the right place. This is where we belong. Because we have an obligation to drive economic development in these communities. We have an obligation to. Yes, we should be imparting knowledge. We should be advancing research, right? You know, we should be ensuring that our curricula is such that it advances and influences the quality of life of our constituents, right? But we also have a commitment to drive what's happening in our communities. And if not, institutions like us, who will? So we start really thinking hard about that. And I think it really kind of aligns with our public service agenda, where we really need to develop a structure, support moving our communities, our internal community, in keeping with our obligations in terms of teaching, research and extension, but also in terms of shaping the infrastructure to revitalize our communities You hear me talk about that and invite you to participate in that, as we go forward. Again, having the community, both internally and externally, feel the presence of the only historically black system in the United States of America. Yeah, I guess it goes well to say that we are Southern, right? And we will meet needs, and we will make a difference. So thank you again. Thank you for hosting. That's okay. How long will you be done?
I might stay here till lunch. Feel free to.
Yeah, excuse me then. We'll be back. Right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. President. He will also be leaving early Monday morning, headed to Washington, D.C. for the 125th. He's got a whole series of meetings between Monday and Wednesday. So we're looking forward to the president of Southern University bringing back some money for Southern University Research and Extension Center. There has been a $37 million ask. And so out of $37 million, we'll bring home about 10, right? I don't know. So I guess let's get started. That was a good presentation, right?
Yes.
As you can tell by the president's remarks, he has not had a lot of attention to the Ag Center, but he's willing to learn, and his vocabulary, his appreciation for what we do is growing day by day. And so I think it's been very good just to have the opportunity to sit with him and talk about land grant. His land grant celebration, his 125th, is coming on the right time because it has forced him, as he want to go forward into Washington, D.C., to learn the enterprise, because if he going to go among other presidents, the other 18 presidents, then he needs to be up to speed to what we do and what we are about and where we want to go. So I think it's good. So this morning, we've come. It's the beginning of a new fiscal year. President Belton and the board has decided that I can be the Earl Chancellor for a while. How about that, guys? And so as we think about that, then I thought it would be a good time to stop and talk for a minute. I tell a lot of stories. I got to do Dr. Weed. Did I remind you all that I worked with Dr. Weed for help? I told you I started with a long time ago. And the Ag Center has been in existence for what, about 14 years plus? 14 and a half years. And I've had the experience of working with Dr. Williams for that 14 and a half years. I actually came back to Southern University in January 2001. I left Southern in 1999 and went to Mississippi Valley to become the vice president of a long, long time. I was vice president for institutional planning and institutional research, for economic development and development. So if it happened out in the community, I did it. If it happened if any planning took place on the university campus, I did it. If there were any reporting that went to IHL and to the federal government, I did it. If there's any fundraising, we did it. And so that experience working with Dr. Lester Newman gave me a new perspective on higher education and all the intricate parts of higher education and how necessary it is to do paperwork, to raise money to keep the enterprise afloat, and how to use creativity to develop curriculums and to make things cutting edge. While we was at the Valley, we did something that was very exciting. We developed a master's in bioinformatics. And we developed that master's in bioinformatics by going to ARS and saying, if you would teach the class, and you then just got some new big computer system, then we went to IHL and said, we can do the curriculum for virtually no cost. And they never heard of that, so they said, y'all really can do that. And we started that. Then we went to Washington, we got $750,000 from Thad Carter to undergrad. And it became one of the first, the only Master's in Bioinformatics in Mississippi. So I say those things just to give you an appreciation that what I was doing at Ballard, and I came back here when we started the Southern University Ag Center. And it's been a good ride. So today we are on another journey for that good ride. So what we're going to talk about this morning. So first, President Belton gave me a little appreciation for him. I've been around here for a minute, and I've worked with research. I've worked with extension. I started back working in extension when I first got here. Then they let me work in research. Gina told me don't work in extension almost. I quit working in extension. Then Malad and I said, well, I'm going to work in research. She won't let me work in extension. And so I've been here, but I guess to a large degree, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let me because I got a little speech. I didn't write one because Deshaun wanted yes we can. Don wanted a ha-ha mumble. Somebody else wanted to make certain that, I present this very dignified way. And so I spent a little minute thinking about that. I had an opportunity I had a little opportunity since January when I started thinking about what would I say if I had this opportunity. So I took a minute and I went to a training they call it the Millennium Leadership Institute initiative. So teach you how to be a chancellor. So I got that little training, maybe see. So let's talk about it. And so where I'm going with this conversation. I was listening to Mr. President Obama, and he did a speech. He did the eulogy for the person that got killed. Y'all listen to that eulogy. And he took the eulogy and he integrated the song, Amazing Grace. And he said that through grace, we've learned a better way. We've learned that the flag should come down. We don't dishonor the soldiers, but we know the cause they fought for was unjust. And he ended up by singing Amazing Grace. And so I thought I would do the first part and leave the second part alone. But because there are those who would say Obama may have needed to leave Amazing Grace. So I said, well, then one morning I woke up, and it was just on my mind. And I decided, and I said, I'm going to push this back. And it was on my mind again one day. And, Dream Girls. Jimmy won't go. I can't take no more of this. Jimmy just won't go. And I thought about that for a minute. And then I said, I got to make that work. But then Jimmy was talking foolish. Jimmy said, got Cadillacs and got all this stuff. And Jimmy just won't go. And I'm thinking, that ain't what we ought to be talking about in the accent. And so then I said, well, I go to Dr. Williams' favorite assistant, Kim Butler. I said, Kim, I need a song. And I commissioned Kim, and last night she wrote me a song. Said, Jimmy won't go. And she was supposed to do that, but I know Kim has been busy this morning, so she didn't really hand out the song like she had committed to doing last night. Some stuff happened between night and morning. And so what we want to talk about this morning is more and more. And so we're gonna take this song and we're gonna work with it for a minute. And I'm not gonna do it all because we're gonna get it polished and published. And see, Chris is gonna lay some music to it, and we were gonna have a track, and we were gonna be right on. And so Jimmy starts out 1, 2, 3. We've got a 2-story building with a fountain in the front, dairy, swine, and poultry units. What more could we want? We've got those cows in a 365-acre farm and Maurice Evans Arena. Add value with its charm. Do you want more? Do you want more? Do you want more? Do you want more? So yeah, we've got the farm, and we've got the enterprises, and we've got research going on. But is that enough? Is the farm being fully utilized? Is it doing all it can do? If we were to gather all the farmers up in Louisiana that we call our constituents and bring them to the farm, would they be impressed with it? Would they know what we were doing, and would they say what we're doing is relevant to what they're doing? If we brought the researchers from around the community and around the country and said, Southern University is doing its research, and we have a 365-acre farm, would they be impressed with it? Do we know who we're working with? Do we know our clientele? Do they know us by name? President Belton said, do they feel us? We have a theme that talks about our vision is that we're going to be the premier provider. Partan can play with the nomenclature of that song, but the real appeal is that are we the path? Do we see ourselves as the path that people want to come? If they've got a problem, are we the first provider? Are we are there, emergency preparedness, we the ones that are going to provide them? Are we the ones that provide the opportunity for success? And do they realize that? Do they recognize that? And if they recognize it, will they go to bed and tell somebody else, these Southern University had something wrong because we are who it ought to be? So, so we really, as we think of through this journey, we've done really well. We've done good. We're good at we're a good institution. We've got a lot of great things going on, but can we do better? And so we ought to think about that. Then it goes on to say we want to help the community with problems large and small, but can we first fix the condensation in the old Williams Hall? Cutting edge research keeping us in suspense as long as the faculty and staff commit to good attendance. So we got two problems. We won't vote. One is that we've got to figure, and I talked to Linda Baptiste yesterday, I've been cold so long I don't know how it is to feel warm. I've been working with my fingers freezing and trying to type and sitting there with a heater running, my butt hot and my fingers cold. We ought to want more. Huh? And so we've got to be on watch for them. Whatever the hurdles are, we've got to figure out how to get past those hurdles so that we can get where we need to be. We got labs that ought to be functioning that can't function. We got people who don't want to move out of those, but they've fallen down, but they just like it before. I don't know. So we've got to figure out that. And so we've got some opportunities. We've gone to Washington, got $2.5 million about to fix this building. But the Division Administration, Southern University system, wherever they hang up, we can no longer make excuses that it's somebody else's fault. I mean, somewhere we've got to take the blame for it ourselves and really step up to the plate and get up in the morning with that on our mind. And go to bed, make an assessment of whether or not we did all we need to do to make it happen. So before I get back to the point, and this is a song, before I get back to the song, I want to just acknowledge the executive staff. Because in Morning More, I talked to them. And we've got a fine Vice Chancellor for Extension, Dr. Gina E. Eubanks, who's doing a marvelous job, making it an A+. But I think she can do better. I think she can maybe A++. Don't some of y'all teachers give A++? No. Come on, baby, work with me now, because we want to move forward. And so when we talked to Dr. Eubanks, and we have, I called Dr. Eubanks up and I said, what are your expectations? She told me she had no expectations. Well, I know Gina had a lot of expectations. She just didn't tell me. But in the process of doing the great work she does here and the work she does for LSU, how do we get up? And, because Extension has to become it is what it is, and it has a great opportunity to be the face for the university and the face for the Ag Center. We can connect all the world that flows back here. So Dr. Eubanks is going to become much more political. She's going to become much more involved in not, she gets here at 8. So if she gets here at 8, she can be drinking coffee with the business people at what? 6:30. 6:30. She gets up early. And so that we can begin to do that. And we got I don't want to get to the field staff yet, but and so we got Willie Ross. Give him a salute. Willie is he works in research, and he's the go-between the faculty and the research director, which is why I'm giving that up, because they might not let me keep this, so we're going to keep some. And so I'm actually really, when we talk about the farm, then he's the point person for the farm. If we talk about evaluation, then he ought to be doing evaluation. And one of my notions of life is that, and I try to operate on it, that we operate on contract. If you tell me you're going to do something, do it. If you can't do it, come back and tell me you can't do it. But give a little reason why. But don't wait for me to ask, or act like you forgot it when I asked. It ought to be just that simple. There's some things I don't, we want a little bit more in that area, but Willie's doing good. So we want y'all to support him, but also that he's going to do more to help you do what you do. And then Chris Rogers, He's doing a marvelous job with the technology. He's got technology and communications. So we've got to figure out how we can get more out of that. Kim wrote a piece on in the poem about that, but Chris told me to take that out. He was talking about terabytes and gigabytes and all this stuff, but we can't get in it. We can't read the internet because. And I said, Chris called me up in a panic saying, "Man, we got to change that." And so I took that out. He gonna mess with that, but Chris gonna give us more. I don't know what more is, but he's gonna work with us, because he's got that whole communication piece. And the communication piece and the thing, and I talk to communication people, they tell me, say, well, the researchers and the extension folks won't give me nothing. I talk to the researchers and the extension folks, they say, well, I don't know what to give them, so there seems to be some disconnect. And what I gather from that conversation is, and that may be concluding the wrong thing, but let's just say what I gather from it. I gather that excuses. I mean, if you read the Wall Street Journal, if you read the New York Times, if you read the Morning Attitude, you can figure out where the world is going, and you can tell them what you want to do with your information. If I told you that there's an economic term in there called Say's Law, I told you about it yesterday. Say's Law said if you build a better product, people beat their way to the door to get it. So if you're doing the very best research, you're doing the very best extension service, you're dealing with your clientele, and they get the very best services, and they tell somebody that you're going to get somebody going to come to your door and ask you what you do. So if you do your best and they do their best, the story gets told. Who I missed? Linda Baptiste. Linda Baptiste has decided that she wants to do finance and administration. So that means her challenge is to really work through the finance work, but also to make certain all these. Because we say, AOE not only has a condensation problem, but it has a cleanliness problem. It's got all kinds of challenges. So when I walk in the morning and I see trash out there, that means Linda didn't see it when she got it. Because it got out, it came after she got it. Now if I leave leave at night and come back in the morning, the same chicken boxes on the floor, then that means something didn't go right. And so we've got to figure out how we keep the building clean. One is that we've got to work better ourselves, but we've got to also be intentional about what it is that we do, right? Right. Oscar Udo. Oscar Udo is a fine plant, and so but we want a little bit more. And so Oscar, if he's in planning, then he's got to do more than just tell me that the report went to D.C. or went to the State Department. He ought to be giving me a picture or a profile or a magazine that's talking about impact, so that I can make decisions, or the executive staff can make decisions about where the investments ought to be and where the investments ought to be. Because it's all based on productivity, evaluations, and accomplishments. So if he reports that we're doing good in this area, then that's straight up good. He said, well, this area has been slacking, so we ought to say, well, how slack has it been? Is it because of the vacancies need to be filled? Is it because it's obsolete, that is no longer valid, and we've shifted our burdens to something else, our challenges to something else? What are the decision points that we're going to be considered in doing that kind of situation? And so we ought to think about it. And then we got Wanda Burke, director of the Southwest Center for Rural Initiative, which is Southern University's first opportunity to have an external flag that we fly. We fly it out there, and we ride for the brand. The flag of Southern University system and Southern University Agricultural Research Institute. So how do we take that and shape it so that the 10 parish region knows who we are all over it, for the capacity to do economic development and make a difference in those communities, so that not only does it do what it do, but it helps us do what we do, so that there's an integration between research, extension, and we take it to scale, and so that the flag flies high, and then the University of Belgium would also know the attributes of what we do. So when I'm talking about this conversation, my goal is really to say that we have a super executive staff, and so they have been empowered with the responsibility and the authority to do what it is that needs to get done. And so when you come to me and you're having a conversation about your boss said that you ought to be at work at 8, but if you get here at 8:30 and you want to eat till 9, and you got a problem with that, them even asking you that, then I got a problem. It seems like somewhere it's contractual, you need to be at 8, even if they let you come at 8:30. But if they ask you about it, you ought to be fighting about it. You ought to just say, I'm wrong, and go and do what you do. Okay, so let's see, we had a couple more on there. We said, so the whole, where am I on this point? We've dealt with technology, we've dealt with stakeholders, we've dealt with, the other thing we want to talk about is opportunities. What are the opportunities that we think we have? And so I want to embrace you. I want to let you know that how appreciative I am of the work you do. And that as we talk about the executive staff, that what you do is important. If I was to ask this at this moment, who is the team? Who is the team? Who is the team? Everybody's a team. I mean, we all a team. Every position, every person has a responsibility. Every person is a contributor. Every person makes a difference. And we are collectively, but no one person is bigger than the team. I mean, we all need special attention. I need a lot of special attention. And we all have our and some days we've got it. But because we are a team, we leave no one behind. And that means that we will begin to figure out how to partner with one another. And we can partner on work. Not that you don't do a good job, but you want to do what? More. And remember, we always doing more. Everybody starts out at an 8, right? We're just trying to get high. And so it's really trying to figure out one of the things we've done this summer, and I think it's going to maybe become the platform, a model if it works out well. And I'm absolutely certain it's going to work out well. Dr. Bernstein McGee was brought on this summer to help us put together a overarching program to nutrition, where we brought all the nutrition. We have a tremendous capacity in nutrition. We have 4 or 5 PhDs in nutrition. We have 3 or 4 master level nutritionists. We just have capacity there. But if we put a program together, everybody find themselves inside that program, then we can make a tremendous impact on nutrition, health, and wellness for the state of Louisiana, both research and extension. So that's critically important that we do that. And so if we begin to think about that, we've got Smith, and we've got London, and we've got community, we've got Ben talking about economic development. So how do we make certain that we put people in business, we help leaders understand policies so that they make good policies so people can stay in business, and then Ben provide data for leaders to inform them so they can make good decisions. Holistically, we can do a lot with that model, but it's all about carving out the niche, sitting at the table and having a conversation about it. And so we're going to do more of that. We talk about agriculture. Agriculture is in our what? Name. Southern University Agricultural Research and Extension Center. So what does that mean and what's the significance of it? And how do we make certain that when we talk about agriculture, that people and agricultural people, because if you look at the agriculture community, I need to move quickly. I see y'all getting a little bit sleepy like, so I need to pick this up. Maybe I need to tell another joke. But let's talk about agriculture. There's been a drought, there's been a flood, there's been all kinds of disasters. And what has someone said about agriculture? Do we have anything to say? What recommendations have we made during this period to our farmers? I know our extension agents out in the field have made tremendous recommendations, but collectively, so we need to think about, is that our business? Do we need to be in that? Then if we're talking about alternative crops, what recommendations have we made to put that in the interim of the rain or the storm or whatever? So we've got to figure out what our trust is in agriculture. And the same thing with family consumer science and people. If children fall apart, that's really youth. Youth is going to be one of our, has been and must continue to be one of our flagships. We've got to figure out how to take youth. I talked to the researcher 6 months ago. Now it may be a little longer than that because we haven't met in 6 months, so it's been longer than 6 months. About our next video, our next piece of production ought to be around youth and the contribution the Southern University Ag Center make for youth. And because if we're touching, Oscar asked me one day, how many youth are we touching per month? He said we're touching 3,000 youth per month. I mean, that's more than, and I don't know how many repeats, but 3,000 counts. And so if we're touching kids from 9 years old through college, at every level of the way, we've got all these youth programs, we've got the academic enrichment programs, we've got the pipelines of Southern University programs, we've got student work programs, we've got graduate students doing research, then we ought to be able to highlight that, because one of the ways to get Southern University system's attention is to tell them what you're doing for youth. And once you get their attention, you say, by the way, I'm working with the family too. I'm working with the farmers as well. We also in the community. But they get their attention because Southern is driven by student hours. And if we can tell them that we're making a contribution to that if we can help a family, if we can help youth get out of middle school into high school, then they got a greater likelihood of being able to come to college. And so we need to figure that out and figure out how we can do that and make it better. And that goes across the board. So so basically let me talk about, so we've talked about we want more in that area, we want more. We talked about attendance and reporting. And she has a piece on that talking about agents reaching out, citizens hearing for, but we need to complete the travel logs over their sun visor in the car. Now, I talked about Linda, so let me do this real quick. Linda's shop has been mandated to follow the rules. I mean, Belinda Mack in the house. Belinda Mack has been mandated to follow the rules. So don't make Belinda not follow the rules. If you're a cart card, you shouldn't buy a TV on it. Don't buy one on it. If it tells you to do your log and turn it in and allocate, whatever, lay out everything, do it. Don't call the governor telling the governor that she's messing with you because and that you ought to have a special provision. It doesn't work. And so, if the finance department decides they want to be lenient and not do what they need to do, well, not a problem. But Linda told me they ain't going to do that. And so you're going to help the finance to do what? Stay in compliance. I mean, it's easy. It ain't easy, but let's do it. Because even I like to break the rules. But, at the end of the day, if they tell you to put the log in the car, what you going to do? Go put the log in the car. Some of the laws, both cars, for people who don't want to do right. If you want a car, you ought to ask for it in advance, right? Don't try to get one scheduled, right? I don't know how you tell you to bring it back. I don't bring it back like they tell them. I'm trying to start bringing it back just like they tell. Let's put gas in it and all that kind of stuff. So let's do it. So all the good things, let me just say that at this point, I would just want to say that I really do appreciate what you do, how you do it. I embrace you, and I want you to, let's work together to try to make this enterprise float. I am always mindful of the fact that if, in fact, while other folks are having problems, if we stay focused, we can find ourselves ahead of the game. But I got my two colleagues over there looking at me, and they want me to say something about the College of Agriculture and Family Consumer Sciences and the relationship with them. They had a nice meeting with the president last night, and they made a nice presentation. They put a lot of energy into helping to ensure that the president would go through the 125th. Let me say this, and I'm going to say this because I put it up for the record. We've been very supportive of the college. We will continue to be very supportive of the college and the success of the college. Now, the college, Walker, has the same challenge that we have in the Southern University Ag Center. We go over to the administration every week and ask them to give us our money back for land grant. We're walking them every week over and ask administrations that to give the money back that came to develop the Ag Center. They want research money back so we can get back into the college and make it true. And so what we're going to do is continue to work with them. And what we hope to do is build a relationship that there's a trust and that we can talk together. What happens is that we tend to talk at each other and not with each other. And so my commitment is to sit down and openly plan and be forthright in our conversation with the college so that the college can continue to nourish and grow and to serve students. And to the degree that we can help shape academics You know, what we've been able to do is collectively shape research, but we've had less input into the academic component of it because that's not our venue. But I think we have experts that we can lend to that as well, if given the opportunity. So I offer them the opportunity to reach out to us and embrace our expertise as we embrace their expertise. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay. Medical marijuana. We're gonna grow some marijuana, guys. Yeah, and I'm thinking Jen's gonna do the marijuana. Jan gonna process it. Everybody's familiar with Senate Bill 143. Senate Bill 143 that Southern University Ag Center and LSU Ag Center would have the first option of refusal to grow and process medical marijuana. We have met with the president, we met with the LSU Ag Center, and both entities believe that it ought to be something we go forward with. It's got a lot of complications. We've got to figure out all the parameters of it. We want to grow it but not smoke it. We want to grow it but we don't want other folks smoking it and stealing it, so we got to figure out how to put all the parameters in place. And so we're going to work through that. We got to figure out whether we need a production person, whether we need a marketing person, whether we just need straight up oil. And so we're working on that. The other initiative I want to talk about real quickly, any questions on question about the we're going to have questions there. The next thing I want to do is Kenyatta Smith has and her team has been working with us, and I need you though. Now, the Ag Center needs you though. We're planning, and I ain't put no money down there, so I need your help. I'm going to put my money down. I put some money down the other day, and thank you for getting it back from me. We want to have a 125th culminated activity as a gala. That gala would be an opportunity to be a fundraiser for the Southern University Agricultural Research and Extension Center, but also serve as an opportunity maybe to give scholarships, not maybe, but to give scholarships to the Southern University the College of Agriculture, Health, and Consumer Sciences. That means that we talked to the Verge, they will give us, I thought they would give us everything, but they give us a 45% discount. The executive staff has already said they committed to 7 or 9 tables, somewhere between 7 and 9. So it's about a 30-table endeavor. If I can get you to support that, we can knock that on out and have the money in the bank by December 17th. Kenyatta got a great plan for it. She's going to invite all of you to participate. I'm going to beg all of you to participate. I want your families, your cousins. And then we shape the program so it benefits everybody. Linda, you want to go with me? And so if we can get you all, you know, weigh in where everybody got to spend their own money, right? I'm not going to spend mine. I don't want you to spend any mine. So, but spend your money, but if you can help, we help. If you can help the Ag Center help us. It would give us an opportunity to on December 27th to have a fine Christmas party. What is that? 17? What would I say? I'm trying to get past Christmas, but we got to do this before Christmas. Okay, it's 17th. So if you could do that, it gives us a good opportunity to have a Christmas party, and give us a good opportunity to put our flag on the table and flown all over the town to bring others in and see what we can do. To have some discretionary money so we can do some other things that are comparable to what other campuses do. Because one of the things we've got to continue to do is recognize that the Ag Center is treated as another campus, as a university. And we've got to think bigger, and we've got to act bigger. And that means that you've got to sometimes pay the play. And so this is give us an opportunity to do that. Yeah, and that, I don't know if this is the last issue. Nothing that Dr. Eubanks and I talked about. We've got a faculty handbook that was written in 2005. Have y'all read it lately? Anybody know where it's at? I mean, I know it's on the website, but what is on the what? The website is complicated. We just redesigned it. What is on it?
Faculty staff resources.
It's on the faculty staff resources. Everything's on the website. You just got to do www, but you got to find out. It's on the website under and in order to be read. But one of the components in it has to deal with faculty. What do you call it? Faculty Senate Committee or faculty committee? There's a committee that faculty get together and organize themselves so that they begin to work with the administration to make critical decisions about budgeting, shortfalls, directions, and began to collectively. So I asked Deshaun York, who was giving me a bunch of thoughts about something else. I said, why don't you just lead the charge of trying to put that in place? Now, when we go to all the faculty city meetings, I was with Thomas Miller and the first for Shreveport meeting. And last week, Monday, they wanted to know about who's going to represent the Ag Center on the new position that the president is creating. He created a position, executive vice president and provost. Well, we don't have a such a person who could orchestrate that. And if y'all can work on that, I don't know what the parameters ought to be. We've had some thoughts. I think Vandella did it for a while. Sabata, you did it for a while. Sabata went to Shreveport and made a presentation on Dr. Talbot's administration. And I think Cassandra may have done it for a second. So Ernie did it for a minute. So it's been there, but it doesn't have structure. I haven't seen any bylaws or any rules. So I'm asking Deshaun to work with the community to try to put that together so that make certain it has representation for research, extension, specialists, and staff. One of our next goals is to hope to be able to, at some point, we've given faculty awards for extension and research, but we're not giving it to staff. And so we're going to be charging someone to begin to develop those rules because we appreciate what the staff does as well. Pay raises, let's get to the budget. Structurally in the Ag Center for the last 3 years, we've been operating probably somewhere between a $5.5 million to $750,000 structural deficit. The deficit grew that much because at one point we were getting $500,000 from the system to undergird that. And how we've been able to make it, we got a little bucket, we've been what we call our cash reserves. In that cash reserve, when we did build the Southwest Center building and we bought one, we ultimately ended up with a net savings of about $2 million. And so every year we take about $500,000 out of there, $600,000, put it over there, another $600,000. That gets you to what? $900,000 left. And we took another 6 out of that, gets you down to what? $300,000. So what's in the bucket now? Not very much. Not very much. And so therein lies our challenge. Is how we got to build this budget, we got to have it built for August. And so I think the process we're going to do is we're going to ask for your input. But my initial thinking with Linda is that we're going to look at the balances, what is happening with the extension budget, federal budget, what is happening with the research budget, federal, how much slack we have in those budgets. Because I know each one of us, Dr. Eubanks and I, both at the end of the year, we always spending money because we got a little bit extra. And you have enjoyed that. But we ought to be looking at that to see if we can squeeze any of that money out of that. What that means is that we can't make our one-to-one match and we will ultimately do what? Ask for a waiver. You can get a waiver as long as you make 50% of the match. If you get below 50%, then they're going to start taking every dollar you can't make it 50%. So I think that's where we're going to try to go with it. Obviously, we've been over there. I had a meeting with the president yesterday. I had one with him one other day. We wrote him a letter, and we requested our money for the land grant money. And you heard him today say he's going to. I think he didn't say he's going to try it. What did he say? He's going to try to help us. So I got some pretty good vibes yesterday that they may help us. But you know, we didn't help us as issues. We need equipment. And so that's how we're going to work the budget process. And as things go forward, we may, you know, we can't continue to operate on a structural problem. And the structural problem is that we've always been very kind in the Ag Center. We don't. Everybody's a family. Everybody needs a job. And we try to keep as many people as possible. And we don't know, not as possible, we try to keep everybody. But as evaluations come in and as structural things change, as program move, then we will have to make adjustments. Our hope is that we will not have to lay anybody off, that we got some retirements coming up, we got some vacancies. But at the end of the day, we've got to make sure this enterprise is cash flow. We've got to have a balanced budget, and that's the expectation. I mean, that is the requirement. And so we want to make certain that we do what we need to do And we'll be as prudent and we'll be as personal about it, as protective of HR and human capital as possible, because you are what makes this enterprise go. But at the same time, we can't do our business and we'll have no paper. We can't, Dr. Baptiste one time wanted to take all the money from a below the line. So I mean, nobody travels, nobody buys anything, nobody has any contract. So then we have a bunch of people just sitting around at the coffee work buying their own coffee. That was going to work. So we've got to figure out how to make it work. Other questions? Yes.
Congratulations, Dr. Brown, as interim chancellor. My question, and I'm sure they may have, can you address your thoughts relative to what happened in the recent legislature as it pertains to Grambling State University becoming a maintained? Just your thoughts.
Just my thoughts. I don't have. My thoughts is that I've got mixed emotions. Let me be honest. I grew up in Guilford, Louisiana. When I grew up there, Grambling was it. Up in that country, Grambling is king and queen. And so I have a strong affinity to the success of Grambling State University. I'm also torn because I know Grambling is struggling financially. And you don't want to see any HBCU closing its doors because it can't make it financially. So to that degree, the story is that Grambling is trying to become an 1890 land grant university, which means that it would get federal funds and potentially get state funds. And therefore it would be able to do what we do. So I want the very best for Grambling. At the same time, being in the Ag Center and wanting the very best for the Ag Center, that's where you come into your conflict. If Grambling goes, based on if you look at the budget this morning, you didn't get it, I can send it to you. But the Ag Committee approved in Washington, D.C., the federal U.S. House Ag. Central State became a land grant a couple of years ago, maybe 3. And it became the 19th one. The hope was that Central State would increase, the budget for the whole system would increase to take in this, what is about $6 million that Central State would get. What happened, it didn't happen. And so what they did is they put Central State $6 million in their allocation in there, and then divided the pie up. So we each get $200,000 or $300,000 less because Central State came in there. And if Grambling comes in, Grambling, I assume because they're in the same state, their appropriation will be the same as ours. Then that means that we get about 3.5 million. So that means that Grambling will get 3.5 million from the federal. But because of the one-to-one match, it means that they will also need to get 3.5 million from the state. Well, we have a challenge to beat our state match as it is. So what happens if Grambling needs a match? What happens, obviously our federal funds will decrease, but we're impacted negatively on the state level. Also, we have an MOU operating agreement from desegregation that delineates the responsibility of what the Ag Center does in Southern and what the Ag Center does in LSU. One of the things that it delineated was by programmatic function, not by geography. We can work anywhere in the state as long as it's what we do. Now, Grambling comes in and they put in their resolution because there's a deficiency in service in the area around Grambling. Well, we already have a presence in that area. Does that mean that we don't longer work in that area? Morehouse Parish and those surrounding parishes around Grambling? Then that won't, how do we work that relationship out? If it's structural, if it's programmatic, and Grambling is interested in working with the underserved, then do the same nutrition, do the same small farms, that same component? How do we divide the pie up so that everybody can do what they need? That's plenty of work to do. It's just getting paid for the work. And so I was writing the president when I came in here and I wrote, and I was just sending a note reminding that there will be possibly a vote in DC next week, and they're going to want for the Council of Presidents. And they're going to want him to weigh in what's his opinion on it. Well, the Southern University system took the opinion on the legislative session that we support the initiative. Now, whether he wants to take that same position to Washington, I don't know. But we give him the best information we got and let him make the decision. So I don't have an opinion about it. Ms. Patel, Dr. Patel, what's your question?
I don't have a question.
Anybody has a question? Yes, sir.
Could you please talk about briefly
talk about civil rights?
Yes.
All of you participated in the Civil Rights Review, how many years ago? About a year?
Last year.
Last year. And the Civil Rights Review pointed to some deficiencies we had. It's not that we didn't know that we had them. We just didn't pay attention to it. So we're going to put together a team to work on those deficiencies. The deficiencies go as simple as some of it is that there is no signage in here that tells us that we ought to treat people right. There ought not be, we ought to make handicap be accessible. We ought to just, the federal government, whatever those regulations, we need to post signs all over the place so that we comply. We don't, many of us, we issue a contract, we got vendors upstream and downstream. We buy stuff and then we hire people to do stuff for us. But we never tell those vendors that they also have to comply with federal rules and regulations. They do it for us and we're happy, but we don't know who they employ or who they don't employ, how they discriminate. So we've got to keep them informed of who they are, who we are, so that they do what we want them to do. If they out there discriminating against people we hire, we are perpetuating that behavior. So we've got to figure out policies and training along that line. There are a lot of other provisions that just involve training. Some of that training will go with LSU, some of it will go with HR or Southern's campus, because there's gender equity there, there's other race recruitment, other race participation. One of the things that we used to do, we don't do anymore, when I was in extension many moons ago, every report you have to say black, white, and then you have to look at the census data and say what's the population. And then you figure out your potential, and then you figure out your actual. You have to verify. If you weren't reaching your potential, then you have to write an explanation. Why were you not reaching your potential? You aren't working with Hispanics. Why are you not working with Hispanics? What are your goals to begin to work with more Hispanics? Well, we've got to do that again, because we just work with people, but we don't have a census that say this ought to be our target. This is the number of people we ought to be working with. We say we serve small farmers. What's that for? Small farm population. We serving families on welfare with food stamps. What is that population that we ought to be reaching? Are we reaching how many whites, how many blacks, how many Hispanics, how many other races? Are we doing those things? And we've got to begin to put those plans in place. Part of the Civil Rights Report says that we ought to have advisory committees. Now, the individuals on the phone or on the video, most parish staffs have advisory committees. How many of you in the room have advisory committees? Then we all ought to have an advisory committee. The executive staff ought to have an advisory committee. There ought to be an advisory committee for the Ag Center. And so we've got to begin to constitute those advisory committees, because only by that can you demonstrate that we're using their input to make decisions that are relevant to them. And so we've got to put that in place. We had one, we just need to reconstitute that advisory committee. The Civil Rights Report also says that we need to go back and do what the desegregation suit said, a Sullivan document said. The Sullivan document said that we will meet once a year, or we will have that LSU and Southern Ag Center will appoint a committee to coordinate and organize land grant programs between the two campuses. That committee was initially constituted with Dr. William Bill Richardson, Dr. Richardson, his research and extension person, Dr. Gina Eubanks, and Dr. Malad. They got together and had a meeting, and they said, well, why should we be meeting someone without giving us the money? But in reality, the civil rights people say you still need to go back and meet, because you might not be getting 1.65, but you get the 1 million plus, you get the $750,000 that go along with selling. It just makes good sense to do it. So we've got to do that. And so I guess also that basically we just need to get some things done. We've got a big checklist of things that we just have not done. Life is such that you get a lot of slippage. If you let 10 o'clock pass, you virtually the whole day long. And then you look around for tomorrow. I was talking to my grandson this morning and said, my God, it's Thursday already. And I'm just getting to work. Y'all get to work. So we just got to get something slippage. We got to just handle our business and take care of that. Gabe, you got something?
And now you want to speak to us about intellectual property?
Intellectual property. You know what I've been trying to think about? I don't know anything about intellectual property, but I've been thinking about for a while. Chin, introduce yourself again, because I know some fine titles. I need to hear it. Just say it quickly. What did you say you were? When you stood up.
What do you want me to say?
Say the same thing you said when you introduced yourself.
Well, we try to.
Just give me your title. Because you say you're a professor for.
I am professor in horticulture and working in sustainable agriculture research. We're trying to do the medicinal plants through natural products.
Yeah, and so at the part you said a little different, but it was about the product development and some kind of. So that's what I wanted to talk about. We did that. So we're going to develop some products. We've got to figure out who wins. Well, first of all, we got to believe that we can develop a product. We got to tie. We have a lot of jellies and jams that we put, but we haven't transferred them into products. We got a little nervousness in there. We're not quite comfortable yet moving it from demonstration to product development to saying that this is our product, that it has is Jag jelly, Jag biscuits, and so forth. And so maybe that's because we went over and talked to your attorneys, but when we get through that process and figure out how to do it, have the confidence to do it, then we need to at the same time figure out who wins in the process. And the intent that everybody wins. Southern University will win, the person that designing will get a nickel, where Southern get 95 cents. Or something really with that. You get to money. And those kinds of things, but we aren't quite there yet. But I think that if we begin to think about that, and get confidence, we can do that. That's all I know about that. We've also got to figure out about all this distribution of this marijuana stuff may get us thinking about that a little faster, much faster. I was informed that y'all will have plenty of questions that should be prepared, but I'm extremely excited and happy that y'all don't have any. I'd asked Alice that y'all needed the food. She told me no, and that we probably short, but don't look at Alice like that. I'm lying on Alice. I won't promise not to do that anymore. But we've got a great opportunity. The interim chancellor, I don't know how long that's going to be, but it's going to be as long as it is. And we will work as hard as we can. We will not worry as much about the interim. We will worry more about the ag center. We will worry about the work getting done and making certain that we can support you in whatever way necessary to support you. We will support you to the top of the hill when you're right, and we'll support you up to the mountain when you're wrong. And then when we discover you're wrong, we're going to sort of turn you over to somebody else. But most of the endeavors are right. And so we will do right, we will do good work to get good work, right? Renita gave me a book one day, and the book said that there are 4 things. One is be impeccable with your words. Always say the very best. Always do the very best. To get you an elevator speech about what's important to the ag center. Why the ag center? You want to be able to know that. Maybe that's what Chris Rogers' first task going to be doing more. What is the elevator speech? That so people meet you wherever you. I mean, you wear the brand, you wear the lapel pin. I don't do that quite as well. But you know what is in your action, which is great. But let's do it more. The other word is that the other thing was that it's not all about you. You know, I mean, so sometimes it's really about the team. So if we're gonna do what teamwork gonna do, then we ought to recognize that sometimes old folks used to say, take the low road, or you're the better Christian, or whatever. But the situation is that people are people, and you will always have certain tension, but let's work through it because we're working for a greater cause. The other one, I think, what is it, Renita? is, I don't know, but it's something about you've got to do what you do. It's about, at the end of the day, when you've done all you can do, just do what you can do. I mean, it's don't take anything personal. The next one is really don't internalize stuff so that you take it personal. Always stay focused on the task at hand. Don't let the slippage get you off. Don't let the noise and the distortion take you off course. It's easy to come in the morning, all excited about work, and somebody say, hell, the building's just too cold. You say, well, let's just go back home. Don't go back home. So, you know, everybody gather around the heat. And so I think it's going to be good. Dr. Eubanks, thank you. Dr. Burke, Dr. Baptiste, Dr. Ross, Dr. Chris, Dr. Humphrey, Dr. Udo, our communication staff, they did a wonderful job. I do need to say this thing though, close. The people out in the field are critically important to our success. I want to, let me do this for everybody. I want to be a part of what you do. I know that sometimes the chancellor's role is bringing greetings. I don't like saying greetings, but I do want to come to the meeting and say something. Can I tell them who I am, what I do? As we think about this Ag Center, we think about how do we become a household name? We become a household name by telling folks who we are. And so with the extension agents out in the field, my hope is to get out to the field to see you, not to do extension work, but to meet the people that you know, so that I can support you and you can support me. And likewise in your programs, if I get to your programs, I mean, I'll come and we'll add value to each other. Because what we want to do in the Ag Center is to create 1 million gurus, 1 million experts, all of you that have your own reputation, that can go before Congress, can go before the state legislature, they can go before the Chambers of Commerce, go before the National Food Science, or whatever, and speak with authority, and speak because you have the data, you have the reputation, and you have the credentials to do that. Our job is to make you heroes, to make you experts. And we want to make certain, because if you do that, Southern University reputation as an Ag Center will be great, right? Yeah. Go forward. Be great. I mean, that's really go forward.